Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Kool-Aid Podcast. Well, what can I say? Today we're gonna be reviewing the Argentina game, and no words. I had to let Alvaro start this one off. What did you think about that game?
That's probably the best game we've ever witnessed. I mean, there are a lot of games that we weren't alive for that we weren't born at that time that people are gonna say that they're comparable and how crazy they were. But I mean, this is the most cardiac game we've seen. Like for the fans, like it was way too back and forth. The first 70 minutes or so, it was a quote unquote boring match because Argentina went up early 2-0. Nothing was going on from France. France looked dead and it's about 2-3 minutes. Mbappe does what Mbappe does, ties the game,
Yeah,
and then the pressure's on Argentina. So I mean, um, crazy game. And the substitutions worked for the Shams, getting Giroud out, getting Griezmann out, Dembele. They worked. They didn't work in penalties, but they work enough to get them two penalties. Um, Mbappe, like I've said it, like we were talking about today, if he's not already, he's gonna be the best player in the world. Um, don't get confused with me saying that he's the best of all time. He's never gonna get to that. No matter how much he does, he's never gonna get to that. Messi's being considered for his eighth Ballon d'Or today. Six or no, seven or eight, seven,
eighth,
eight,
it'd be eighth,
eight,
it'd
eight.
be eighth, yeah,
That's enough said. If there's some way that he wins his Ballon d'Or eighth at this age, so I
yeah.
mean,
No, it's
enough said. I mean, but Mbappe's probably already the best player in the world. He showed up 4 goals, calling the penalty at the end. Um, and nothing. I mean, this French team deserves a round of applause because they had their go to midfield was depleted. They didn't have Pogba, they didn't have Kante. Their defense was great, but I mean, defense doesn't score goals or move the ball around.
yeah,
And their attack without Benzema, people didn't you didn't feel it as much because Giroud had a great World Cup. But I mean, yeah, the ball down the middle. I mean, you can only do so much with Rabiot and Griezmann. Griezmann had another great performance in the World Cup. But Rabiot would not have been starting, and will probably not even been considered in that team if Pogba and Kante had been there. And Pogba and Kante are world stars. I mean, Pogba, no matter how much we want to say that he's for your injury probably inconsistent, he's one of the best midfielders in the world
yeah.
when
He
he shows
shows
up.
up for France for sure.
So I mean that team would have been if they got to the final with this team, who knows what they could have done with a healthy team. But props to them. And penalties, I mean, I call this when penalties came. Argentina has already been here. Their players are experienced. They play overseas. They've been here before. They're old enough to be able to take on the pressure. France, people I can't pronounce his name.
Who?
The Togamani.
Chouameni.
Chomeni. Yeah, Chomeni. People like him, he's what 1920. He can't. No matter
Gets
how
a
good
lot
you
of
are,
pressure.
it's very hard to take a deep breath and slow your heartbeat, your heart rate in that moment. That we're inexperienced. Dibu is probably one of the best penalty goalies that we've seen in a long long time.
Yeah.
And you can say it's luck, you can say it's skill, whatever it is. He humiliated anything that went up against him in penalties. And I mean, it was a bad combo for France in penalties. Lack of an experience, a great goalie. So
Yeah, and based on what you said, right? I think in any other World Cup, France would have won, like against any other team, just because even with all the injuries, even with all of the players missing, this French team was crazy this World Cup. And excuse me, and I know they didn't always give these performances in the group stages or in the knockouts. Um, performances that made you think, wow, this team's gonna win it. But at the end of the day, you look at, like you say, you look at how hard they worked with what they had. It's admirable. But it's what you said. And Argentina were just ready for this. They really wanted to win, and I think I speak for a lot of people in the world right now. It was such a joy to see Messi lift that World Cup after 8 years, of being so close and having it ripped from his hands. right at the end of the game, being able to lift it. I can only imagine. It's I think it's anyone's dream that loves and watches the sport to want their team to do that well, to make it to a World Cup final and to win, right? But I can only imagine how he's doing right now. I think you didn't mention this, but I know you agree with me. Not that we didn't know this already, but for the people who had their doubts and made the comparisons, I think this makes Messi the GOAT. With the World Cup
Look,
he had,
look.
yeah,
People can say all they want. People can have all the goals. People can say Pele is the goal. People can say Maradona is the goal. People can say whoever they want. What Messi's doing, no one's ever gonna do. You win your last World Cup. You win your first World Cup, and your last chance. You're about to win an eighth. I'm not. You know what? I mean, I gotta help myself. You're the favorite to win your eighth Ballon d'Or.
yeah,
People winning multiple Ballon d'Ors is already putting you up there in the conversation for
yeah.
one of the best.
I believe outside of Messi and Ronaldo, the most Ballon d'Ors anyone has is three,
Cruyff, right?
2 or 3. I think Cruyff is one of them. I'm not sure. I would have to check,
I
but
mean, and look, I understand if Argentina eliminated your team in the knockout stages, or if you're a French fan, whatever, you didn't want Messi to win. But for the most part, the football world, everybody wanted him to do it. That
yeah,
if you compare him to any sport, it's like the goal of that sport winning in his last chance.
yeah.
And I mean, we saw speeches like Peter
Peter
Ju-
Drury,
Peter
yeah, the
Drury,
commentator.
beautiful speech. Everybody had beautiful speeches about him. He completed football.
Yeah,
Not-
I
not-
mean, I'll openly say this on stream. Right after we finished recording, when I ended the stream that we won, I started crying. I
Mhm.
couldn't, and Alvaro here can confirm it, but I couldn't hold back. It was just so emotional for me. I can only imagine how he felt and how everyone on the team and all the Argentinians felt. But seeing him win and it being something he fought for so hard and something that meant so much to him and to all of us, it just I couldn't be happier with this ending. It really is a fairy tale ending, as some people have said. In the last chance, winning the greatest trophy in the world. Because Ballon d'Ors and UCLs and league titles are cool. They're great trophies to have, great accolades. But the World Cup is the World Cup. Um, many greats haven't won it. Many greats have. It's at the end of the day, it's a team sport, and I think the way Argentina were playing, they would die for that World Cup if they had
And
to.
look, this already puts to sleep that argument between who's better, Maradona or Messi. First of all, and I know this argument is mostly from Argentinians. There was never a debate.
There was at the beginning, but I think we're way past that.
At this point, there was never. If Messi had lost yesterday, there was never a debate. Because first of all, if the hand knockout doesn't happen, who knows
He
what
can't
happened.
go to the semis.
But you know what?
Well, I mean, he
Even
did score
Maradona had
2 goals
won a
again, but
World Cup
right.
and Messi hadn't. But I mean, there's nothing you can say. But at this point, whoever is saying that Maradona, and I'm saying for us, we know who the goat is, and most people have already started to believe that the goat is Messi. But people that still think that Maradona is better than Messi, there is no valid argument.
Yeah, no, it's just you gotta be a fanatic, and as great as Maradona was, I think Messi is a greater role model to everyone. He is a better person than Maradona was, and player wise, I think you look at the stuff Messi does. Sure, they were similar in a way. They were kind of similar in their play style. Not saying they were entirely, but they had some similarities. Small players that were very good on the ball, very creative. But I just don't think what Maradona did amounts to what Messi has done. I mean, of course, there's many factors here, such as being a very indisciplined player, someone with a really controversial life that ultimately cost him his career, a big part of it. But um, I just think Messi is different, right? He's
Yeah,
more
look,
talented.
yeah.
I just think he's greater than Maradona ever
Look,
was. But
the
of
point
course,
is
that doesn't change Maradona's status as one of the all-time greats either.
exactly he's one of the goats, and he's still some people's goats. But this puts to bed any argument of anything
Yeah,
against Messi being the goat. So,
yeah, and
and if he wins this eighth Ballon d'Or,
Yeah, I don't think there's, and he deserves it too. It's not like he was just
What else
gifted.
do you do?
It's not like Modric in 2018. But listen, I will say this overall from the game, I thought Argentinian were. I would give him a probably out of 10. I'll probably give him like a 6 or 7 out of 10 because in the first half they were absolutely dominant. They were even when they scored. The Di Maria penalty, that was a clear penalty. I don't want to hear it. Good goal by Messi, and then the Di Maria goal was even better. It was a great build-up play on the counter attack, and you know, good first
No,
touches
I mean
and a good finish by Di Maria. So I think in the first half, Argentina were way more dominant than we've seen them in the World Cup and than we expected. France had no chance. It's like they didn't want to win, and we see why Deschamps made the substitutions that he did. Putting in Kolo Muani, putting in Thuram,
no. And
putting in all these other players like Coleman.
first half and 2/3 of the second half.
Yeah, no, for the beginning of the second half, yes, Argentina were a little slower, but they were still maintaining. And this happens in the game. This is why it's such a great game to watch football. In a matter of
And
in a
and,
matter of
and,
seconds, the game completely changed. It went
and
from
that's what
being
you and me were saying. If Argentina have found a way to score their goal, mentally, that's demoralizing for the French
no,
team.
that's the nail on the
The
coffin.
French team will have not recovered from that.
No, no, no,
Let's say that Mbappe gets a penalty right after that. That's three
maybe.
one. That still is not enough up here for you to realize, hey, we still got a chance. A 3-0 would have been game.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we'll never know now. I think Argentina, they I'm not gonna say they were lucky because they did play well after, but uh they acted well, they responded well, they were playing terribly, they were giving France too many chances, too much ball possession, and France punished them with the Mbappe play. Surely it was Otamendi's fault for holding onto the ball that long, but mistakes happen. No one's perfect. He gave the penalty. Martinez almost stopped the first penalty. I believe he got his hands on it, but the shot was too powerful. I don't think he could have pushed
he
through.
almost stopped two of Mbappe's penalties.
Right. So then again, a few minutes after, what a freaking goal by Mbappe. The volley, great technique, great play, and
That's probably top three goals of the World Cup.
the World Cup for me still Richarlison's, but yeah,
That's why I said top three.
yeah. So then I think the Argentinian defense was solid up until that point, and then they got really shaky. They were giving a lot of chances, a lot of crosses coming in, but Argentina held their own, and then as we know in the first, I believe it was in the first half of overtime, they take the lead with the Messi goal, and that was a great play. But I was so nervous there because I didn't think the ball had crossed the line. But then I gave it a second look and it was very clear. And yeah, then France, unfortunately, the handball in the penalty box, I cost them another
That was
penalty.
completely unnecessary.
I don't think it was an intentional handball, but you gotta realize if you're in the box defending, you can't
No,
put
I
your hands
mean,
up like
if it
that.
wasn't, he kind of like did this as an attempt to
Yeah, but
like,
I don't think that was. I think he was just like covering his face in a way, kind of the way like how you shield your face when you're about to get hit. But that's not important. The important thing is they fought hard until the end. They were able to go for. I believe Argentina at that point were just waiting for penalties because they knew they had the upper hand. This is a team that has won Copa America, the semifinals on penalties. It's a team um, that beat the Netherlands on penalties. Like they're experienced in that area, and a great game at the end for a neutral. That must have been one of the greatest games they've ever seen. So much drama, so much crazy plays, crazy moments, and
and look, everybody wants to talk about Messi and Dibu as like the key players, Di Maria, whatever. Acuna had a crazy game.
yeah, and I don't think he's a great player, but he had a good performance. He had a good cameo out towards the end of the game. A few good passes that he gave.
No, he
And
got some
now that you talk about Martinez, what a save that was toward the end of the game that kept Argentina in the game.
people forget about that in minute 118, 119.
That was
Not
that was clutch.
8 out of 10 goalies, 8 out of 10 goalies missed that because he dropped at the perfect moment to stop that. If he dropped 1 second earlier, well, 1 second later, that was under his legs.
That was game.
If he drops 1 second earlier, maybe the striker recognizes that and chips it over him. He
Yeah.
dropped at the exact
Uh-huh.
moment.
No, and that's what we're saying. At that point, that's game. It doesn't
And I'm
matter.
sorry, when I saw that play, I was ready to a mid game. I have no
Mhm.
idea how he stopped that. And he is getting paid a bag by some major club. He's leaving Aston Villa. After this season, I don't see how he's in that team. I don't care if he concedes the most goal in the Premier League. After this World Cup performance, he's getting
Yeah.
paid a bag for with a major club. But going back to Acuna, he got some dance and defensive replacement for Di Maria.
Yeah.
He's a
I
left
mean,
back.
Di Maria, as great as he is, he's older and he's
He's a
very
left
injury
back.
prone.
He's not a left mid. He's not a left winger, and he played like a left winger.
I
And
thought he
he has
played
some
decent.
dimes,
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
especially that outside foot dime to Lautaro,
yeah,
who
that
I
throw
don't
that
even want to
pass.
talk about. I don't
Yeah,
even want to talk about Lautaro
Martinez didn't have a great
because
performance.
motherfucker, if Argentina had lost the World Cup, he's one of the people to blame.
Right. No, for
But
sure.
that's another story.
But yeah, overall, it was amazing. Messi completed football. Argentina win the World Cup. That was phenomenal. I wanted to talk about really quickly because we didn't do a match reaction to the Croatia and Morocco game. I know it's not as important because it's the third place final, but I thought it was a very cool game as well. Very tight, very physical game. From the start, we saw Guardiola with the header, and what a finish! The diving header kind of reminded me of Van Persie's goal against Spain in the first game of the group stage in 2014. And yeah, right after Morocco tied, I don't remember which player it was, but similarly with the header, and it was such a back and forth game. I think both teams were evenly matched. They both play a similar type of football, very defensive, playing on the counter. And I thought they had an interesting. They put on an interesting show for us. And of course, they don't. No one's ever gonna celebrate third place that much, but good on Croatia. Before I forget, also the Orisic goal was absolutely beautiful. The curler that went and hit the post. Bono did not see that. I don't think anyone expected that. When I saw that, I was in awe. It was an amazing finish. Also, a player you got to look out for because Orisic is very talented and is a player that I could possibly see playing in a top European league in a couple years.
He played in the UCL this year against Chelsea, I think. Yeah,
Yes, because he
yeah,
plays with Zagreb. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, I was
and
gonna say, look, Croatia always finds a way to shut up all the haters. They made it to a final last World Cup. No one saw it coming. They made it to the semifinals this World Cup against a very motivated Argentina team. Yes, 3-0, whatever you want to say. Props to them. No one ever sees them coming. And the way teams like Spain, even though teams that didn't face them, but teams like Spain, Netherlands, Germany, teams like that are miles ahead on paper over Croatia. They didn't get there, and
yeah,
Croatia always finds a way. And it's sad to see Modric go off in his last World Cup as not a winner. But hey, you gotta pick who gets it, and obviously we all want
yeah. No,
Messi.
that's the sport.
But hey,
You can't
he's
always
one
be
he's one
over.
of the go-to of the midfield. So
Yeah, he's one of the greatest midfielders of all times for sure.
and Morocco, I mean, shit, no one expected them to
No,
make it.
I expected them maybe to go to the. Well, I don't even remember what my prediction was for them in the group stage, but
Who were they were with Belgium.
Canada and Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and
It was an African team, I think.
no,
Let me look it up.
yeah. Well, in the meantime, as you do that, yeah, I believe I said at some point I think Morocco is gonna go maybe round of 16, but I never thought they would get as far as they did, and props to them. They played well together. They have great talent, but as a unit, they were crazy. They have players like Hakimi, Sijek, Bono, Mazuri, all good players, and they put on a great show for all of us. But yeah, I thought
Yeah, wait, I'm looking for this. It was, but yeah, it was Belgium, Croatia, Canada, and Morocco. I mean, teams like Belgium. I mean, Morocco was in a very difficult group, and they managed to get out. They beat Spain, they beat Portugal,
yeah,
they beat great teams, and that team, yes, it has some vets, but it's a good young team. They could be another exciting team for the next World Cup. Bono is a great goalie. Another guy that you
Yeah,
could see leave Sevilla for a bigger club.
yeah,
Um,
he showed it in the World
yeah,
Cup.
a very respectable team that really shot the haters too. That was that third place game was the two, arguably two of the biggest underdogs in the World
Yeah,
Cup.
for
It's not the
sure.
two biggest. So.
But yeah, if lastly before we finish this episode, how would you rate this World Cup out of 10? And where would you place it amongst the previous four World Cups?
This World Cup will probably be I don't know. I will say a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because we always like to see those big teams in the towards the end. We love to see Brazil in the semifinals. Teams like Germany, big teams. But
Yeah.
I mean that's what this was a crazy World Cup. So many underrated teams made it. So this, if I have to, if from 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022,
Mm.
um, number one, let's go from bottom to top. Four has to be 2018. I mean, it was. I mean, I remember like any spark out of that World Cup. It was a
Yeah,
nice World Cup.
I think it was an average World Cup.
I
Yeah.
mean, everybody always anticipates a World Cup every 4 years. Everybody's dying for it. I didn't really get much from it. Second should be Brazil 2014. I don't know. I guess just like the atmosphere of Brazil, a heavy soccer or football country, it was fun. I mean, we saw Messi just miss his World Cup. Germany destroyed Brazil. It was a really fun World Cup. The music was great with Pitbull, but no,
Yeah.
it was a really fun World Cup. Number two, I will have to put in 2010. You and me were very young, but we remember. We both love the Spanish team. That crazy
Great.
Iniesta
Yeah,
goal.
that midfield was insane.
Waka Waka it came out. But it was. I mean, that one was a great World Cup. It's probably one of the best of all time. If I guess most will agree. We didn't get to appreciate it as much. If we had gotten to appreciate it as much as this one, we would probably had a harder time putting this one in second instead of in first. But I mean, that was a terrific World Cup, and this actually be the best World Cup final of all time.
And I think it's been a great World Cup overall. If I
No,
if I had to give
I
it my
mean,
rating, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10.
there you go.
Just because we got to see Messi finally lift the World Cup, and I think
Yeah,
overall it was so exciting. So
that's
many
probably what
upsets.
puts the cherry on top. I mean, the goal of football, completing the goal debate by winning his last
Completing football,
by
he's
winning
won
the one.
everything.
What hasn't
But
he won?
yeah, the Euros. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10, and I will rank it in the same order as you actually.
Yeah,
But
2018,
yeah,
2014, 2010, 2020.
but yeah, of course, in the same exact order.
Yeah, and one thing before we leave, one takeaway. It seems like now, obviously, in the next podcast or in two podcasts from now, we're gonna be going back to Barca news and stuff like that. It's great to see that for the most part, from what I can visualize for the players that play in the World Cup, everybody seems pretty healthy going back. That was our biggest worry. I can't
Yeah,
think of like many top names that left the World Cup injured, but in terms of Barca, a lot of people that went to play for their teams, and at least the biggest names came back well. Lewa, De Jong looks good.
mm.
Dembele, let's hope there's no
And
surprise for him.
Araujo should be back well, right?
Araujo should back to 100%. I know Barca and Uruguay had there was some tension because Uruguay wanted to rush his recovery. Barca said no, whatever. But everybody looks pretty healthy. We'll see how that happens. I know it's in 2 weeks, right? They come back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, probably poor Premier League. They
Yeah.
start tomorrow.
Um.
But yeah,
Wait, the Premier League starts tomorrow. You said?
tomorrow or yeah, I think tomorrow is Man City Liverpool.
Let me check that for you.
Let me see. Let me see. I'll look it for you. I think tomorrow's Man City Liverpool. I don't know if it's the only game of the day, but I think it starts tomorrow. Let me
No,
see.
it's the 26th of the first game.
The first game. No. I think it's something about tomorrow.
No, I believe it's maybe a League Cup game, but no. No, the Premier League starts on the 26th.
That makes
Um,
much more sense.
but yeah, thank you guys so much for accompanying us in this great World Cup. Thank you guys for the views, for all the support, and like Alvaro said, we'll be back to covering regular league games and whatever other tournament
Barca
there's
news.
going on. and we'll of course we'll keep you updated with any Barca news. Over the next couple weeks, we're gonna be over the next week and a half, before all the games, we're gonna be uploading a little bit less, but we know we're still gonna be talking about any news that we have. And yeah, guys, I wish you all happy holidays, and thank you for enjoying this episode with us, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Take it
Thank
easy,
you.
guys.